Now it says here to factor the trinomial. So we're factoring x squared plus 14x plus 48. Now to factor, we're doing the reverse of multiplication. So let's review for a second multiplication of polynomials. If we wanted to multiply these two binomials together, x plus 5 times x plus 7, we would use what's called the FOIL method. And that boils down to this. We take the first term of x plus 5 and we distribute it through the second binomial. So we take x times the x and x times the 7. Well, x times x is x squared. And x times 7, a positive x times a positive 7 is positive 7x. And then we take the 5 and distribute it through the second polynomial, the second binomial. 5 times x is a positive 5x. And 5 times 7 is positive 35. And when we combine the terms in the middle, we get x squared plus 12x plus 35. So that's the process of multiplication. And we call it the FOIL method because the x times the x was the product of the first terms of each binomial. The x times the 7 was the product of the outside terms. The 5 times the x was the product of the inside terms. And the 7 and the 5 was the product of the last terms. So if we were going to reverse this process and start with x squared plus 12x plus 35 and try to figure out what these two binomial factors are, then you notice that the x squared comes from the first term of each binomial factor. The 25 comes from the last term of each binomial factor. And the 12 is just the sum of the 5 and the 7. The 5 and the 7 get added together in the middle. So keep that in mind as we factor any trinomial. So we've got a trinomial, so we're going to try to factor it as a binomial times a binomial. Most trinomials will factor as a binomial times a binomial. So put down the shell and then start with the first term. That's an x squared. We know that this times this, the product of the first terms, has to be x squared. Now jump to the 48. We're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give us 48. So that this times this is 48. But when we add those two numbers together, we get 14. Well, we know that 6 times 8 will give us 48, and 6 plus 8 is 48. 6 plus 8 is 14, rather. Now, we know those have to both be positive because we know that a positive 6 times a positive 8 is a positive 48, and a plus 6 plus 8 is plus 14, so the signs have to both be positive. Now, we could, of course, check this answer because we're stating that this is the answer, and of course, all we have to do to check it is to FOIL this. X times x is x squared. X times 8 is 8x. 6 times x is 6x, and 6 times 8 is 48. When we combine these in the middle, we get x squared plus 14x plus 48, and sure enough, that's the answer. X plus 6 times x plus 8 is the answer.